The High Commission in Delhi was very keen that we all engage with the government of India to celebrate India's 75th anniversary. Well, if it's 75th year, then it should be 75 women. It was originally going to be 75 people, but then as thoughts progressed, 75 women.
Most of the time it's a mix which is dominated by men. So is that why you thought?
And women's stories are as important as men's stories. Everyone has got a voice, but sometimes it's only men's voices that are heard. And I thought it would be interesting to hear women's voices as well.
Hello everyone. The British Deputy High Commission in Chandigarh is paying tributes to 75 Indo-British women, largely from Punjab, in a beautiful coffee table book called 75 Years, 75 Women, 75 Words. With me is Rowett, the British Deputy High Commissioner, and the women behind this whole project and this beautiful book. So Carolyn, tell me, how did you think of this idea? What made you think of this?
Well, it all started about a year ago when it was, we were coming up to the year of India's 75th anniversary. And the High Commission in Delhi was very keen that we all engage with the government of India to celebrate India's 75th anniversary, which was great. And we were all very keen, and there were lots of ideas around the network. But I wanted to do something for this region because I thought this region in particular has a lot of stories to tell post-partition. And then as I thought about that, and as I met so many people as I travelled around Punjab, and I was just thinking, what can we do? And how can we show these stories? And then I thought, well, how can we show these women's stories? And it just developed from there, really. And I just thought, well, if it's 75th year, then it should be 75 women. It was originally going to be 75 people, but then as thoughts progressed, 75 women. And then, again, originally it was going to be 75 seconds, and we were going to ask people to talk for 75 seconds about their life story. And then we thought 75 words would be nicer. So that was the genesis of it all.
And why did you, because most of the time it's a mix which is dominated by men. So is that why you thought?
Well, I suppose as I've read a lot and as I've met people, and I've met a lot of women as well as men in Punjab, but I just found you don't hear so much about the women. And women's stories are as important as men's stories. Everyone has got a voice, but sometimes it's only men's voices that are heard. And I thought it would be interesting to hear women's voices as well.
So that's very nice. That's very remarkable. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of celebration.
I hope so.
It must have been very difficult picking up women. And how did you go about it? I'm really, really fascinated.
So that's an interesting question. To start with, it was people that I'd met. Then we widened it out to people that my team had met. And because obviously we all meet a lot of people in our day-to-day work. And then we've got Chevening alumni. Obviously, we've got a big network of alumni in the region. So we reached out to the Chevening alumni as well. And then it was friends of friends. And we use social media as well. And then people in the UK who had connections with students' groups or with a whole range of NGOs, etc. So just reaching out continually to a lot of women, both here in Punjab and in the UK, and a lot of women as well. We've got 75 stories, but we approached a lot of women.
Okay.
And not everyone wanted to be part of it. Okay. And that was fine. That was their choice.
Yeah. So how long did this take you?
It has taken us about a year. It's been a lot longer than we had thought.
So you thought of it last July, August?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was about last August when everyone was planning celebrations. And then we slowly started to put it into motion. We weren't sure how long it was going to take. And obviously there are lots of other things. We weren't just working on the book. We've all got other things to do in daily life. So there was lots of juggling to do. But then this year I thought, well, we need to now produce it before India becomes 76. because once India becomes 76, then the title of the book is redundant. So, so that spurred us on to finish it this week. So
that's wonderful.
That's very exciting. Yeah.
And any favorites, any women you were inspired a lot by?
I couldn't choose one, but I have to say, reading them through, I mean, I think almost every one of them has inspired me. The stories that they tell. And I think for me, what came through was, we talk about the living bridge between our two countries and how unique that is. And I think that really is shown in this book. Some of them are first generation, second generation, third generation in the UK now. But they've still got their Punjabi links. And more than their Punjabi links is their faith. Okay. There's a lot that comes through about Sikh values, hard work, honesty and transparency. And that has stayed with them. And so that was inspiring. And then it's very nuanced in the book. And people will say, yes, I came to the UK, I grew up here, I went to the Gurdwara and I went to the church and I didn't think there was anything wrong with that.
Oh,
and
so nice.
It is, and they really balance the two cultures and the two histories. And, there's references to mini skirts and walking down the King's Road. And then there's references to Enid Blyton, Shakespeare, apple crumble. But all that mixed in with Punjabi food and literature and history and culture. And that all comes shining through, that there's no putting things in compartments and saying, oh, that's my Punjab half, that's my British half. It's all just mixed together, and then it just comes out with a fierce determination to help as well, really. So if there are people here who have been doctors or specialists in the UK and then have brought that knowledge back here to Chandigarh and Punjab to help women's groups here. So it's sharing all the way through. And I find that
in a way, it also documents the Indo-British, the culture, the churn that went on in Britain and how they continued to be attached to their roots while growing roots in a new country.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to the old roots in Punjab as well. There's a lot of movement between the two countries. There was and there continues to be. And I think that's great, because I think we've got a lot to learn and a lot to share with each other. And it's great that the women are doing it.
So is there any oldest and youngest or...
Well, gosh. There is one person in here who is the same age as India.
That's nice.
So that was nice, and that's what she said. I'm the same age, and then we've got from someone of that generation to someone who was the kickboxing champion of the UK.
Oh wow, kickboxing champion!
Yes,
that's amazing.
Yeah. So and everyone in between. We've got Chevening alumni who was a boxer. We've got someone here who was head of the civil service. There's someone who was a senior police officer in the UK. I mean, it covers
a lot.
A lot, yes. In 75 words.
Yes, yeah, that must have been a challenge too, because once people start talking about themselves, it goes on and on.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so when we asked people for contributions and we said 75 words, we did get back a lot more than we'd anticipated.
More likely 750.
And then I had to be really strict because it's 75 words. So then cutting people's stories down to keep the essence of what they were saying, but cutting out the words, that was quite a challenge.
Yes, I guess.
But and then I had to double check to make sure everyone was 75 words and not 74 or 76. So, but I think we've got there now. I'm very pleased with it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. So we thought we can't just have the 75 words, we have to put it into context. So we asked for their bios, and then we thought, well, we need their pictures as well. First of all, they just sent pictures, And then we had to go back and say, no, actually, we now need it to a specification. And some of these ladies are obviously very professional and have got professional pictures ready for us, and others had to take a few more for us. But no, they were all very happy to do it. I'm so grateful to all of the women who contributed.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You've touched 75 lives.
Well, and I hope these 75 lives touch others as well.
And
I
so
think
the larger aim was to inspire and
Well, I think at the time, the aim was simply to celebrate India's 75th anniversary. And I think the inspiration was unexpected, but very welcome, that's come through as an afterthought, really, but a very good afterthought. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's wonderful. And they are you were talking about the living bridge.
Yeah, so we've always said that that's a very unique bond between the two countries. And I think it's a very valuable bond. I know at higher levels, it's the strategic framework and it's the roadmap and it's the bilateral relationship. And yes, obviously those are very, very important. And that's how we frame the work that the two countries do together. And we have our priorities and we work together, for example, on climate change, etc. And it's great to have that high-level guidance and we know where we're going and we know what we're doing. But the people-to-people links, I mean, that's often where just the talking creates ideas, creativity, the bonds and the links. And so much can happen at that grassroots level as well. And I think having this living bridge, the diaspora in the UK is, 1.6 million, 500,000 of those are Punjabis. I mean, that's something to value and to use and to share. And I'm really grateful that this book can do that.
Do you have any plans for men?
No, I don't actually.
You do?
But why not? Perhaps. Well, we need a reason to do it. Okay. And I might not be here when India celebrates its 100th birthday. Okay. So I'll leave that to my successors.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Lovely talking to you.
Yeah, thank you
so much.
Thank you, Manraj. Lovely chat.